It's terrible out there. I know things are not going as you anticipated, but I need to urge you today to stay in your lane because you're doing just fine. You're doing perfectly fine. And in the midst of the storm, you're not alone. You're walking in a pit of fire. You are not alone. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, there is another person. There is another person who loves you so much to let you go through this alone. There is a miracle brewing in the situation you find yourself. So I need to urge you yet again, do not give up. The least you can do is to stay in your lane because you're doing just fine without a car. When all your friends have got cars, probably brand new cars, you're doing just fine without one. Stay in your lane. Your friends, they're driving the latest model cars and you possibly have a 20-year-old car and you look at yourself and you belittle yourself because you're driving that dinosaur. You're doing just fine with that dinosaur. If it's still taking you place A to point B, that's fine. You're probably still using public transport and all your guys are living it up. You are doing just fine. Stay in your lane. Otherwise, you're gonna hustle beyond what is defined for you for the season, and you get that big V8, V12, you name it, type of vehicle, and more than half the time, the fuel light is going to be lit. And when we invite you to places B, you can't quite go there because you got too big a car for the season. You are doing just fine. Stay in your lane. All your friends have got the makeups, they've been to that place, that new gig is open, they were there, and every time you meet with them, they talk endlessly of that occasion, of that gadget. They've been to that place, they are now accepted in that club, that clique. Things appear to be going for everybody else but you. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stay in your lane, my guy. You are doing just fine for the season. And while you are in your lane, listen to the right people, listen to the right voice. I'm reminded of a story in 2 Samuel chapter 18, especially if you read through that. It talks about a guy called Absalom, one of the most handsome of men who ever set foot on earth. When he died, and somebody had to deliver the news to the king, David. And the funny part is, you are the David of the moment. You are the king because Jesus is on your side. So when you call on, so as was the situation with David, he was a king, but he was not in the best of state probably at the time because he wasn't sure of what's the state of affairs, particularly with his son Absalom. Absalom, let me say. And so somebody had to deliver the news when Absalom was killed. And so the right person for the season was sent for it. And the same could be happening to you. There are people who are meant to speak into your life. There are people who are meant to do things for you or with you for this season. For as long as you are in your lane, you'll be able to discern that this is of God, this is from God, this is applicable to me, this I can take in, this I cannot. There are certain things which appear too good on the surface, but if your heart is not in the right place, chances are you're not going to hear it of God. Now, these guys, speaking of 2 Samuel in the chapter 18, the one guy who's running, and now there comes the fasted guy, Ahimaaz. He ran through the plains, took a shortcut, and he got before the king, and king asked him, "What's up? Talk to me. What's happening? And what's happening to my son?" Among the most stupidest of answers, which was detected anyway by David because he was in his lane, the kingship. He knew what to listen out to, and he knew otherwise the right questions to ask. This is who we are. Proverbs 4 verse 23 says, "Guard your heart It's important. It actually says, above else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Huh? You go back to 2 Samuel chapter 18, verse 29, when David asked Ahimaaz, the guy who ran apparently with the news, what's happening to my son Absalom? He said, I just saw a great turmoil and I knew not what it was. Literally speaking, very good runner who knew where to go and what to deliver. The problem was the content was not good enough. It was not cut out to add value to the situation at hand. There are people who appear to be running. Some they run in your direction and they're saying, hey, look, brand new, we're living it up. Try this. Look, you just take this once in the morning. You just take this every morning. Trust me, things are going to start happening to you. The list I can say to you, stay in your lane. And in your lane, you're going to do just fine because you are not alone. People who are meant to deliver the right news, they will come, and when they do, it will resonate with your spirit. Talk to your God. If you have to make noise at Him at any moment, do that. Speak to your Father. He loves you so much to just open up to everything. End up in a situation where you're gonna burn yourself too hard to even enjoy the blessing that awaits you on the other side. You're not far from the finishing line. You're not far from receiving your prize. Stay in your lane. God has got this. For as long as you call on Him, He is sure enough to come through for you day in, day out. You've already made it to where you are and listening to this at this very moment because He has not left you. He has given you enough grace to get past the day, enough grace to tolerate the nonsense other people are throwing at you. He has given you enough grace to be standing, to be listening. Stay there. Stay under the shadow of the Almighty, and no harm shall befall you, and nothing will happen to you that He has not authorized otherwise to exercise your muscle. Stay in your lane. God's got this because He loves you so much to leave you alone.